Hey guys, Tony here, and in this video, I'm going to share my experience with the world's biggest soundbar, or what it's technically known as, which is a linear LCR. This is the Krix LX-7, and it's a soundbar, but it's not really a soundbar. And I'm going to cover off all of the specs, how to install it, how to use it, and why you might want one. Now, I did do a reveal on this speaker last year at the CEDIA Tech Summit with my good friend Michael from Krix, but now I get to give it a test myself. Special thanks to Krix for sending it to me for the review. And guys, if you enjoy content around home theater, hit the like and subscribe buttons to see my future videos, but let's get into it. So while you watch the unboxing video, I'll tell you a little bit about the LX7 to help you understand why you might be interested in something like this for your setup. Now, I have some pretty awesome Krix speakers, being the new Phonics Mark II and Epicentrics Mark II, so we had to move them out of the way to make room for the LX7. First of all, it comes really well packaged in a wooden crate with every component carefully wrapped and insulated. This is a demo unit, so your experience may be a little different. However, Krix have always been meticulous in the way they package their speakers. I did a full factory tour recently on my trip to visit Krix HQ in Adelaide, so I will leave a card up above if you're interested in checking out how speakers are made. To describe the LX7 in more detail, it is essentially a linear array of individual speakers for your front soundstage, left, center, and right, and is specifically designed and aimed at the enthusiast that wants to have high-performance audio from their TV without compromising on the wife acceptance factor. As let's face it, most partners not really into having bulky speakers in their living room. The LX7 comes in three standard sizes of 75-inch, 85-inch, and 100-inch to match your TV. However, there is a custom option where you can have between 1670mm up to 2260mm if you want to match the width to your specific TV. The main thing to note about the LX7 is that it doesn't have a power cord. You will need to have a receiver or processor and separate amplifier to power and supply the signal to the LX7, which means you will be able to get proper left, center, and right, giving some channel separation. Installation was as easy as placing it on my TV unit, which just so happens to be exactly 100 inches wide. I'll leave a link to it down in the description, but as this is a review unit going back to Krix, I wasn't going to mount it to the wall for this video, so placing it on my TV unit was totally fine. After taking off the cell air, you can see that the mounting bracket comes off in one piece, and you would need to get someone to assist you with screwing it into the wall, making sure that you put it into the timbers so that it can hold the weight. Once it's wall mounted, you would be able to use the bolts on either side to slot the LX7 into place, and then it's nice and secure on the wall. Prior to that, you would have to pull your cables through the wall so that you can push them through the opening in the back of the speaker, as each speaker inside the LX7 have their own terminals. It would be best to use speaker wire, but my cables are terminated with banana plugs, and there is a notch behind the push terminals where I was able to put the plugs in. However, push terminals and bare speaker wires would be a better option for a permanent install. There is then a magnetic piece that snaps over the front to hide the cables in case you didn't want to have the grill on. There are two optional end pieces which round out the design and give it the classic soundbar look. And that's pretty much it. Your LX7 is installed. So I wasn't kidding about this being a powerful speaker system, with each of the left, center, and right being a proper speaker, with a 6.5-inch bass driver and a 1-inch high-frequency driver coupled by a 90x90 short-throw waveguide. You would be correct in thinking that each of these looks similar to the Hyperphonics 45 on-wall speaker, and those speakers are designed for high-performance dedicated home theaters. So this is not like any soundbar that I've ever seen with multiple tiny drivers. This linear LCR gives a lot of cabinet volume to each speaker, which really helps increase the performance. So that it can be mounted on the wall, they are also front ported. The driver alignment are all equidistant to each other, so that you are getting a true center position with the high frequency driver and equal distance between the left and the right as well. The power handling of the LX7 is 50 to 250 watts RMS, with 60 Hz to 20 kHz in room response and a sensitivity rating of 92 decibels for 2.83 volts at 1 meter. So your receiver should be able to power it more than fine, but a power amp with this would really make it shine. I'm using my Pioneer VSX LX503, which I use to power my main speakers, and the sound is fantastic, but I do have it on my list of upgrades for this room to get an additional power amp. To give you some reasons why you might want something like this for your setup, you can take a look at this room as a guide. Now, my wife has gotten used to and actually likes having my other Krix tower and center in the room, but I do know that it can be a contentious topic. My room is quite big, so it works, but if you had a smaller room, the big speakers could be a little intimidating. So the LX7 is the perfect solution so that you don't have to compromise on that cinematic audio and have a very capable speaker setup with the form factor of a soundbar. Now, I will say that they definitely do benefit from having a subwoofer. You can see here I have two Krix Seismic 3 Mark 7 subwoofers, and matching with my overhead speakers and rear surrounds, the LX7 doesn't sound like it's lacking at all and easily gives a big sound to match the room. You could use it without a sub, but my recommendation is that if you want those low frequency rumbles, you do need to have at least one sub to pair it with. Now, as my channel doesn't really focus on speaker reviews from a technical perspective, I can't really record any demos, as there is no way that I can translate what I'm hearing back to you, especially as you could be listening on a phone. But I will do my best to describe my experience with the LX7 over the last week or so of having it in place. First of all, I'm very used to having big towers and center in place. I was expecting to hear less channel separation as the towers are wider apart. However, I didn't really notice much change. Things happening on the left, I heard them on the left, and they were certainly powerful enough to give a full and rich soundstage. I was watching the new Amazon Prime series Fallout, which does have some pretty intense action sequences, and also musical scores of classic tunes, and the LX7 was effortless in the way that it rendered out the track. If I didn't have the towers, there would be no way that I could go back to a small soundbar, and would definitely opt for the LX7 as there is no compromise at all with the performance. The only thing I'll say is, as I mentioned earlier, that it would benefit from having a subwoofer, but that would be the same for any speaker system. I have very capable Nuphonics towers which have multiple bass drivers, but I still have two subs to give those low notes going down to 20 Hz. And also, most soundbars these days do come with a subwoofer, so that is something that I think you should consider if you went with the LX7. I like that you can get something like this which has great performance in a form factor that you can wall mount. As they are joined together in this way, the cabinet volume is quite large, so the drivers can breathe, and being front ported, you can wall mount it nice and stealthy under your TV. So the LX7 comes in at 4,995 Australian dollars for the LX7 75, 85 and 100, finished in cinema black, and includes the grille and wall mounting bracket. The LX7 CL or custom length comes in at $5,495. I think that the pricing makes sense considering that the Hyperphonics 45 are almost $3,000 a pair, so add an additional speaker, plus you have the extra cabinet engineering, as well as the two end pieces and the wall mount bracket. It's pretty consistent with what other Krix speakers are priced at. Remember that this isn't a tiny soundbar that comes with your Sony TV. This is a proper speaker system with 3 individual speaker channels that give you an excellent soundstage. I will leave links to Krix down below where you can find a dealer internationally, and to give a full disclaimer, this wasn't a paid or sponsored video, there are no affiliate links, and the unit is going back to Krix and they have not seen the video prior to publishing. All views expressed in this video are mine and mine alone. That being said, I really enjoyed my time with the LX7. It was great to test out a new speaker and something that I think has been truly lacking for the home theater enthusiast that wants to get cinematic audio in a room that potentially can't have speakers installed. Why don't you let me know what you think down below of the LX7? Is this something that you could see for your setup? And make sure you hit the like and subscribe buttons to the channel so that you can see my future videos. A big thank you to Krix for sending me the LX7. I really enjoyed my time with it. I have more videos coming very soon, but that's it for this one. You'll catch me in the next one. Bye for now.